I killed my little sister. That's what they said. That's what the cops scribbled in their reports. What the social workers whispered behind cupped hands. What my own mother screamed into my face until her voice cracked like cheap porcelain. But I was 7 years old, barely tall enough to reach the light switch in that godforsaken NICU room. And the truth was a goddamn electric cord snaking out from the wall like a serpent in the Garden of Eden. Plugged into my brother's phone because his precious Snapchat streak was about to die. It was a Tuesday night in the sticky heat of a Houston summer. 2008. The hospital air smelled like bleach and regret, the kind that clings to your skin long after you leave. Our family was a powder keg waiting for a spark, Dad buried in his rig driving job, hauling oil across the Texas panhandle. Gone weeks at a time, Mom juggling night shifts at the diner and popping Xanax like they were Tic Tacs to keep the edges from fraying. Then there was Ethan, my big brother, 15 and already a king in his own mind, scrolling through MySpace on that flip phone like it was the Holy Grail.
And me?
Alina, the middle kid nobody asked for, stuck in the crossfire. Lila came premature. All of 8 months cooked, her tiny lungs wheezing like a broken accordion. The doctors said she had a fighting chance. But only if the machines kept humming, those ventilators and monitors beeping their mechanical lullabies. We weren't rich. Medicaid covered the basics. But extras? Forget it. The hospital room was a shoebox crammed with 3 other preemies, their parents hovering like ghosts. Ours? Mom was chain-smoking in the parking lot. Dad was a voice on the phone promising he'd make it up next paycheck. That night, Ethan snuck in after curfew, his backpack slung low like he was on some covert op. "Gotta charge this thing," he muttered, eyes darting to the outlet behind Lila's incubator. The nurse had stepped out for coffee, overworked, underpaid. The American dream in scrubs. He yanked the plug without a second thought, the machine's steady whoosh cutting off like a guillotine. Lila's alarms wailed for all of 10 seconds before the backup generator kicked in. But it was glitchy. Some cheap hospital fix that fritzed under load. By the time the nurse burst back in, Lila was blue-lipped and still, her chest no longer rising. They blamed me. Ethan, smooth as the day is long, spun it like a pro. Alina did it. She was playing around, messing with the cords. I tried to stop her. Mom bought a hook, line, and sinker. Her golden boy couldn't do wrong.
Dad.
When he finally rolled in smelling like diesel and denial, just nodded along. The cops came, the child services lady with her clipboard and pitying eyes. Accidental tampering, they called it. But in our house, it was gospel. Alina the killer. I spent the next year in foster care, bouncing between homes that smelled like mothballs and microwave dinners. While Ethan got a PlayStation for his birthday, and Mom got a therapist who billed insurance. Fast forward 15 years. I'm 22. Scraping by in Austin with the barista gig at a hipster coffee joint on South Congress. Slinging oat milk lattes to tech bros who tip in crypto. Therapy? Yeah. I tried it. Group sessions in fluorescent-lit community centers where everyone competes for the saddest story. Mine always wins. But it doesn't pay the rent. Ethan's the star now. UT Austin dropout turned crypto whiz kid. Rubbing elbows with VCs in Silicon Valley knockoffs down here in Texas. Last I heard, he's got a startup valuation in the 7 figures. All blockchain bullshit promising to disrupt the family unit or some TED Talk fever dream. I hadn't spoken to them in years. Not since Mom's Christmas card with a single 20 tucked inside like hush money. But secrets have a way of bubbling up, don't they? Like oil from a fracked well. black and unstoppable. It started with a wrong number text from an unknown. Ethan, docs say the swap's stable. Meet at the lab tomorrow. No loose ends. Swap. What the hell? I screenshotted it. Heart pounding like a bass drop at ACL festival. Googled it. Traced the number to a shady clinic in the hill country, some off-books biotech outfit called Neuralink Dynamics. The kind of place where big pharma buries its skeletons. Curiosity's a bitch. But revenge? That's a full-on siren call. I drove out there that night. My beat-up Civic rattling like bones in a grave. The facility was a concrete bunker disguised as a wellness retreat. All succulents and solar panels to fool the zoning board. Security was laughable, a chain-link fence, and a bored guard scrolling TikTok. I slipped in through a service door. The air inside humming with that sterile ozone tang of servers and scalpels. What I found in the sub-basement, a rabbit hole straight to hell. Files on a terminal. Unlocked because hubris is the American way. Project Echo, neural mapping and consciousness transfer. Pages of pseudoscience jargon.
But the gist?
They'd cracked body swapping. Not some Freaky Friday fluff, real deal. Wiring brains to swap souls via neural lace implants. Ethan's name was all over it. Test subject 0. Funded by his crypto slush fund.
And they're
buried in the metadata. The kicker, the incident that qualified him. Lila's death wasn't an accident. It was a catalyst. Ethan hadn't just unplugged her for his phone. He'd done it to trigger a lawsuit. A fat settlement from the hospital's negligence claim. Mom and Dad knew, hell. They coached him on the lie. The payout? 6 figures. Seed money for Ethan's future. I was the scapegoat to keep it clean. The disposable kid they pinned it on so Ethan could play innocent. My vision blurred. Rage boiling like Gulf Coast humidity. But then the alarms shrieked, motion sensors. Footsteps echoed. I bolted. Files downloaded to a thumb drive clutched in my fist. Back in Austin, I paced my one-bedroom shoebox. The city's neon glow seeping through blinds like accusatory fingers. Revenge wasn't a word anymore. It was a blueprint. I'd seen enough true crime podcasts to know vigilantes get caught. But this was sci-fi sorcery. If they could swap bodies,
so could I.
I'd become Ethan. Live his life. Dismantle it from the inside. Burn the empire he'd built on my sister's ghost. The decision hit like a hit of cheap tequila, burning. Inevitable. I reached out to the anonymous texter, posing as a disgruntled investor. Heard about Echo.
In.
They bit. Greedy for more lab rats. 2 weeks later, I was strapped to a gurney in that same bunker. Electrodes kissing my temples like Judas. The doc, a weaselly type with a Harvard med sticker on his lab coat, mumbled about minimal risk. Full reversibility. Bullshit. As the machine whirred to life, a migraine splitting my skull, I locked eyes with the mirror across the room. My reflection smirked, Ethan's reflection, because in that instant,
the swap clicked.
I was him.
Tall.
Broad-shouldered, with that trust fund jawline and a wallet fat with venture capital. The clinic staff nodded like I was their messiah. Mr. Harlan, they cooed, Ethan's fake CEO alias. I played along. Voice deeper. Gait cockier. Every mannerism I'd memorized from his Instagram reels. Freedom tasted like stolen whiskey, his Austin loft overlooking Lady Bird Lake. Tesla keys on the counter. A fridge stocked with Beyond Meat and bone broth. But under it all, the itch, the knowledge that this shell was a prison for his soul. Wherever it was shunted. probably in some cryovat, waiting for reversal. First move, ghost the family. No more check-ins with mom in her Pearland-tract house. Dad's voicemails about family reconciliation. I blocked them. Deleted the group chat. Ethan's board meeting the next day. I showed up in his Armani suit, pitching Echo as the next Neuralink to a room of suits drooling over ROI. They ate it up. Valuations spiking. But I seeded doubt, slipped in questions about ethics. FDA loopholes. Whispers started. Harlan's off his game. Nights, I'd stare at the lake. Ripples like neural waves. Lila's face haunted me. Not the preemie photo, but what she could have been. Maybe a sorority girl at UT? Or a barista like me, laughing over spilled espresso. The betrayal wasn't just the cord, it was the erasure. They'd traded her life for Ethan's app, my innocence for their silence. Power like this? It corrupts quick. I hacked his emails next, found the kill file, contingencies for loose ends, including a contingency for me, Alina, the unstable sibling.
Poison chalice.
They called it. A vial in his safe, labeled for emergencies. Controversy brewed fast. I leaked a teaser to Wired anonymous source. Ethan's own docs hinting at consciousness commodification. The internet exploded. Body swap ethics trending. Protesters chaining themselves to clinic gates. Ethan's investors panicked, pulling funds. Hemi was trending as the villain, the mad scientist playing God. Mom called from a block number. What the hell are you doing? Ethan? This isn't you. I laughed. A deep bark that wasn't mine. If only she knew. But cracks formed. The swap wasn't perfect. Phantom pains. Memories bleeding through like ink and water. I'd wake gasping, feeling Lila's tiny hand in mine, or Ethan's guilt-tinged dreams of that night. Was he fighting back from wherever? The doc warned of echoes, residual psyches clashing. I pushed harder, scheduled the board's ousting, framed it as strategic pivot. By week's end, Ethan's empire teetered, and I savored the fall like brisket slow-cooked over mesquite. Yet doubt crept in, a Texas twang in my head. Was this justice or just another betrayal? The high wore off, leaving me in this borrowed skin, staring down a mirror that lied. Revenge is a drug. All right, potent. But the crash? That's when the real monsters wake up. The crash hit on a rainy Thursday. The kind of Austin downpour that turns 6th Street into a river of regret. I was in Ethan's loft, pacing like a caged panther. The city lights smearing across floor-to-ceiling windows like abstract accusations. The board had caved, resigned en masse after my leak went viral, painting Harlan as a Bond villain with a god complex. Venture capital dried up faster than a creek bed in July, his crypto wallet, once bloated with Ethereum windfalls, now echoed hollow. I should have felt vindicated, a ghost avenged. Instead, nausea rolled through me, not from the swap's glitches but from the mirror's merciless truth. I wasn't Alina anymore. Not fully. This body moved with Ethan's swagger, spoke with his clipped Valley Girl inflection. But inside, a war zone. Memories leaked worse than a sieve. Last night, I dreamed of unplugging the cord myself, my hands, small and grubby from playground dirt, yanking it free while Ethan watched, smirking.
No.
That was his memory, bleeding into mine like contraband. I jolted awake sweating, the vial from his safe clutched in my fist. For emergencies, it read, a clear liquid that could end a life quiet as a sigh, undetectable. He'd bragged in encrypted chats. Poison for the problem child. Me.
But now,
In his skin, it felt like a loaded gun pointed inward. Controversial? Hell. It was biblical eye for an eye.
but whose eye?
I needed intel. Real dirt beyond the files. Ethan's contacts list was a Rolodex of rot, shady lobbyists greasing FDA palms, ethicists on payroll to whitewash reports. One name popped, Dr. Elias Crow, the weasel from the clinic, now consultant on speed dial. I called. Voice all honeyed urgency. Elias. It's Harlan. We need to talk Echo, off books. He squirmed, but greed's a great convincer. Met at a dive bar off I-35. The kind with peanut shells on the floor and jukebox country wailing about lost loves. Crow slid into the booth, eyes darting like a ferret in headlights. Ethan. Man. You're killing us. That leak? It's suicide. I leaned in. Ethan's cologne, some overpriced dude bomb, wafting like a threat. Suicide's the point. But first, full disclosure. Lila. The payout. How deep does it go? He blanched, beer foam clinging to his mustache. Spill came in fits. The hospital suit netted $750K. Laundered through a family trust. Mom forged docs to pin it on me. Dad muscled witnesses, truckers he'd boozed with at the VFW. And the swap? Ethan's idea. Born from survivor's guilt twisted into ambition. He wanted to fix it, Crow slurred. Swap into someone broken. Make amends. You were the prototype. Test the tech on a willing subject. But you bolted after foster care.
So he
Adapted.
adapted.
The word hung like smoke. They'd planned to swap me back and guinea pig me into oblivion to absolve him. My rage surged, hot as jalapeno oil. I palmed the vial under the table, thumb tracing the cap. One flick, in his lone star, and poof, another loose and tied. Controversial as hell. Murder in a brother's body. Fratricide by proxy. But justice?
Or just the cycle spinning?
I hesitated, the waitress's tattooed arm brushing past with nachos. Not yet, I muttered to myself. Play the long game. Back at the loft, I dug deeper. Eth's hidden server. Buried in Tor nodes. Jackpot. Videos. Grainy cam from the NICU. Time-stamped that fatal Tuesday. There I was, 7-year-old me, coloring on the floor while Ethan loomed, phone in hand. He unplugs, deliberate as a surgeon. Lila's alarm keens. He freezes, then plugs it back. But too late. The glitch kicks in. Then the lie, he coaches me. Say you did it. Lena. It's a game. Mom'll buy us ice cream. I parrot it. Trusting fool. Cut to the aftermath. Parents huddling with lawyers. Ethan counting stacks in his room. No remorse.
Just ROI.
I uploaded snippets to a dark web drop. Tagged for journos. By morning, the Austin Chronicle had it. Crypto bros' dark secret. Infanticide for investment? Protests swelled. Moms with preemie photos chaining Congress Avenue. Hashtags like Justice for Lila trending nationwide. Ethan's alias, Harlan, went nuclear. Death threats flooded my inbox. Mom's voicemails escalated from pleas to curses. You're destroying us. You ungrateful shit. After everything. Everything? Like framing your daughter for murder? The swap glitches intensified, migraines like jackhammers. Ethan's voice whispering in my skull. This isn't you. Give it back. I popped Adderall from his stash. Chased with Red Bull. Austin's hustle mirroring my frenzy. Next play, the family reunion he'd ghosted. A forced barbecue at Dad's ranch outside Round Rock. I showed. Ethan's truck kicking dust on the gravel drive. They were there, Mom in her muumuu, Dad grilling brisket with a beer gut straining his polo. Ethan's fiancée, Tara. A Pilates instructor with influencer vibes. Awkward hugs. Forced small talk over potato salad. Ethan. Honey, you look different, Mom said, eyes narrowing. I shrugged. Ethan's grin plastered on. Stress?
Ma.
Startup life's a bitch. Dad clapped my back. Too hard. Heard about the scandal. Pull your head out. Son. Tara cooed about wedding Pinterest boards. Oblivious. But under the picnic table. My foot twitched, not mine. A phantom tick from Ethan's soccer days. Close call. Dinner devolved when the Chronicle piece dropped on their phones. Mom's face drained white as Wonder Bread. What is this, Ethan? Tell me you didn't. I cut in. Voice steel. Didn't what? Trade a life for a launch fund? Or frame Alina to keep it quiet? Silence. Thicker than the humidity. Dad's fork clattered.
Boy.
You lost your damn mind. Tara gasped, scrolling furiously. I laid it out, the vid, the payout, the swap as their twisted redemption arc. Mom sobbed. It was an accident. The phone, kids do dumb shit. Bull. I played the clip on my phone. Ethan's own hand damning him. Dad lunged, but I sidestepped. Ethan's reflexes sharp. You made me the monster, I snarled. Now watch yours burn. Chaos erupted, cops called by Tara. Sirens wailing like banshees. I bolted to the truck, peeling out as blue lights flashed. Heart hammering, I ditched it in a Walmart lot, Ubered to a motel on the edge of town. The vial burned in my pocket. Ethan's whispers grew louder. They're your family. Stop. Family? They were vultures, picking my bones clean. Media frenzy peaked. CNN panels debating tech-fueled family feuds, ethicists calling Echo Frankenstein 2.0. Investors sued. The clinic raided by feds. I went underground, crashing on a hacker buddy's couch in East Austin, Eth's contact. Ironically, a dreadlocked coder named Jax who brewed ayahuasca in his bathtub. You're not Harlan, he said one night. Passing a joint. Eyes are wrong. Too haunted. I confessed bits. The swap. The revenge. He laughed. Dark and knowing. Bodies are just meat suits.
Man.
Souls? That's the real hack. But the haunting deepened. Lila's ghost visited in dreams, not accusatory, but pleading. Why fight fire with fire? Controversial choices piled. Leak more? Risk innocence at the clinic? Or end it quick? Vile style? I chose escalation. Hacked Ethan's offshore accounts. Funneled funds to preemie charities. Lila's legacy trended. A phoenix from ashes. Mom's interview on local news. Tear-streaked. Begging forgiveness. We were desperate. Poor folk do desperate things. Desperate?
Try depraved.
The feds closed in. Safe houses raided. Jax spooked. I holed up in a Big Ben cabin. Rented under a fake name. Stars overhead like indifferent witnesses. There, in the silence broken only by coyote howls, the twist nod. What if Ethan's guilt was real? What if the swap was his suicide note? A way to let me, Alina, take the wheel? Paranoia or paranoia? Reversal loomed. Crow texted. Reversal window closing. Come in. Or permanent.
Permanent.
Me and Ethan's life forever. Him lost in limbo. Or flip it. End the charade. The vial gleamed in lamplight. One drop for Crow. Silencing the tech. But whose hand? Mine or his? Dawn broke over Big Bend like a hangover, orange and unforgiving. The Chizos Mountains mocking my isolation with their ancient indifference. I'd driven through the night. Ethan's stolen Escalade eating miles of desert highway. Radio blasting Willie Nelson to drown the whispers. His voice, no. Ethan's echo, chattered nonstop now. You're ruining everything I built. For what? A dead kid's grudge? Grudge? It was a grave. Dug with family shovels. I cranked the volume. Windows down. Wind whipping his hair into frenzy. Lila's face flickered in the rear view. Not a ghost, but a memory. Her first coup in the incubator. Tiny fist waving like a flag of surrender. The cabin was a squat adobe relic. No Wi-Fi. Just solar panels and a wood stove that smelled like forgotten campfires. I barricaded the door with a rocking chair. Vial on the rickety table, like a loaded die. Reversal or retaliation. The choice clawed at me. Controversial as a Supreme Court leak. End Crow. Torch the lab, vigilante justice. Texas style. Or swap back. Testify. Let courts grind slow as molasses. But courts failed me once. They'd pinned a murder on a child.
No.
This was personal. A blood debt in borrowed flesh. Jax had slipped me cords before ghosting. A backup lab in Marfa. The artsy ghost town where billionaires play cowboy. Off-grid echo site, he texted. Endgame there. I geared up. Eth's Glock from the glove box. Cash from the dash safe. Drove west. The desert a blur of prickly pear and poverty. Tumbleweeds skittering like escaped regrets. Marfa hit like a fever dream. Minimalist galleries amid oil pumps. Hipsters sipping prickly pear margaritas while locals nursed Pabst at the bar. The lab hid in plain sight. A wellness collective barn on the outskirts. Fairy lights strung like spiderwebs. I parked a mile out. Hiked in under cover of dusk. Boots crunching gravel like bones. Security. Drones humming overhead. But Eth's credentials pinged green on the gate app. Inside. The air thrummed with cryo-chillers. Walls lined with pods like sci-fi coffins.
And there.
In the central chamber, 2 harnesses, neural interfaces glowing blue. One occupied me. Or the shell I'd left.
No.
Alina's body. Vacant-eyed on monitors. Vitals stable but soul adrift. Crow hunched over a console. Lab coat rumpled. Coffee breath sour as betrayal. Harlan. Christ. You made it. He didn't notice the shift. My eyes too shadowed. Stance too feral. Reversal's tight. Echo bleeds at 40%. Any longer. And psyches merge. You want that? Brother-sister Voltron. I circled. Casual. Merge sounds poetic. Like family. He chuckled. Nervous. Speaking of, your folks called. Cops have the vid. It's viral. They're lawyering up. Claiming coercion. Kid stuff. Coercion. The word ignited me. I lunged. Glock kissing his temple. Coercion like framing a 7-year-old? Or swapping souls to play God. His eyes bulged. Hands up. Spill 2, the full plot. Ethan hadn't just wanted absolution. He'd engineered the swap as escape. Lila's death? No accident. But a mercy kill. Docs said she'd be vegetable-bound, a drain on the American dream. Parents agreed. Unplugged for compassion, blamed me to collect insurance double-dip, sympathy payout plus negligence suit.
Ethan?
He filmed it for leverage. Blackmailed the clinic into echo access. You're the villain now, Crow wheezed. But he loved you. In his way. This was his gift, your life. His body. Gift? A Trojan horse of hubris. Rage crested, I chambered a round, barrel cold against his brow. Controversial apex. Execute the enabler. Spark a manhunt. Or interrogate deeper. Where's he? I growled. Crow nodded to a pod in the corner, frosted glass. A figure curled fetal. Ethan's original shell? No, scans showed a hybrid. Psyches tangled. I cracked the seal. Vapor hissing like Judgment Day. Inside, not Ethan, but Dad. Or his echo implanted years back. A beta test during Dad's heart attack that wasn't. The old man's eyes fluttered open.
Confused.
Alina? That you? Girl? Twist gut punch me. Dad's illness post-Lila? A cover for early swap trials. Ethan's tech guinea pigging the family. Mom knew, hell. She greenlit it. Trading Dad's mind for stability funds. He was the puppet master. Swapping in and out like channel surfing. Building his empire on pilfered lives. We did it for you kids, Dad rasped. Voice gravel. Lila was suffering. Ethan. He saw the future. Future? A nightmare of commodified souls. Auctioned to the highest bidder. I reeled, Glock trembling. Ethan's echo roared in my head. They're monsters. End them. But Dad's plea cracked the facade. Forgive us?
Peanut.
We broke.
Peanut.
Childhood nickname.
Salt in the wound.
I lowered the gun. Vial slipping from pocket. Crow bolted. I fired wide. Shattering consoles in sparks. Alarms wailed. Drones swarming. I hauled Dad's pod. Awkward. Heavy to the Escalade. Tires spinning dust as Marfa lights faded. Back roads to nowhere. Dad wheezing in the passenger seat. Tethered to a portable monitor. The reversal. It's in the dash kit. But Alina, Ethan's fused. You swap back. You take his darkness. Darkness? Like the cord. The lie. The swaps. I gripped the wheel. Desert wind howling. Media blackout my ass. Phones buzzed with alerts. FBI manhunt for Harlan. Charges mounting. Fraud. Assault. Conspiracy. Mom's presser leaked. My son's possessed. Help us. Highway hypnosis set in. Stars wheeling overhead. Controversial crossroads. Mercy kill Dad. Vile his four? Or reverse? Reclaim my skin. Face the circus? Lila's whisper returned. Break the cycle. I pulled over at a ghost town rest stop. Kit in hand. Strapped in under a mesquite tree. Needles piercing like pennants. The machine portable echo rig. Hummed to life. Voltages dancing. Pain lanced. Psyches peeling apart like wet paper.
Mid-swap.
Revelation. Ethan's core wasn't guilt, but envy. He'd envied my freedom, foster kid. No chains. The swap? To steal it. Live unburdened. But in the merge, I saw his fracture. The boy who unplugged not for cash, but terror. Lila's cries echoing his own failures. A teen drowning in family weight. Monster or mirror. Swap completed in a thunderclap. I gasped awake in my body, petite, scarred from barista burns, familiar as sin. Dad's pod flatlined, the strain too much. Trapped in limbo. Echoes fading. I torched the rig, flames licking the night like absolution. Walked into the dawn. Thumb drive in pocket, evidence for the feds. Anonymously dropped. Austin welcomed me back. Indifferent, coffee shop humming, tips in a jar. But the storm? Ethan's empire crumbled, clinic shuttered, investors fleeing, soul swap scandal Watergate level. Mom indicted for fraud. Her tearful plea. We were victims too. Victims? Debatable. Weeks blurred into a haze of depositions and dive bars. The kind on Rainy Street where tourists pound $5 eucalypts and locals nurse grudges neat. I turned state's evidence. Alina Reyes, the miracle survivor of Project Echo, headlines spun it like a Lifetime movie. Minus the empowerment montage. Feds swarmed. Suits crisp as fresh tortillas. Grilling me under fluorescent buzz. Body swaps? Really? I laid it bare, the cord. The cash. The consciousness carousel. Ethan's remnants? A vegetable in county care. Mumbling code in his sleep. Mom? Out on bail. Rotting in a halfway house. Her Xanax habit now court-mandated Ativan. Dad's funeral was a quiet affair. Just me and a preacher droning psalms over a plot in Pearland Memorial. The twist? It inverted everything. Turns out, Ethan's envy was a half-truth. Buried in the drive's final file was a love letter.
Digital and damning.
To me, Lena, if you read this, know I rigged the swap for you. Take my life better than yours. Lila's death broke us all. But you're the strong one. Forgive. Forgive? The word curdled like spoiled milk. Was it absolution or another con? Journos debated it on podcasts. Tech tycoon's ultimate sacrifice or sick control? Splitting listeners down red-blue lines. Bootstraps versus systemic rot. Controversy clung like humidity. Protests morphed. Preemie advocates demanding NICU reforms. Tech skeptics torching Neuralink effigies. I got offers, book deals from Penguin. TED slots. Even a Netflix true crime pitch with a brooding lead playing me. Turned them down. The barista gig paid in normalcy. Steaming milk a ritual against the noise. But nights? That's when the settled. A velvet noose. Dreams of Lila. Not wheezing, but whole. Us sisters biking Barton Springs. Splashing in the green water. Ethan cheering from the bank. Then the unplug. Over and over. Hand swapping. Mine. His. Mom's.
Dad's.
Who pulled the cord? All of us. In the end. Revenge's aftertaste is ash. I'd dismantled the empire. Exposed the rot. But victory? Hollow as a piñata post-party. Ethan's wallet funded Lila's legacy, scholarships for preemie families, clinics in underserved Houston hoods. I cut the ribbon at the first one. Cameras flashing. Mom watching from the crowd. Gaunt and gray. Our eyes met. She mouthed sorry. I nodded. Once, not forgiveness, but truce. Debatable ending. Justice served. Or just delayed grief. 1 year on. Austin's vibe shifted. Echo's ghost in every VR headset. Every self-help app promising. Mind uploads. I dated a paramedic, Miguel, with calloused hands and a laugh like thunder. We hiked Enchanted Rock at dawn, his arm around me as the sun crested, chasing shadows. You're a survivor, he said. Survivor. Yeah. But of what? Betrayal's blueprint. Or my own dark turn. The final hook. A package arrived at the coffee shop. No return. Inside, Ethan's phone. The flip relic from that night. Charger cord coiled like a noose. Screen cracked, but functional. Last text. To me, use it well.
E.
I plugged it in. Battery flickering to life. One photo. Us kids. Pre-Lila. Arms slung in a rare hug. No swap. No schemes. Just family. Fractured from the start. I deleted it, but kept the cord, tucked in a drawer. A talisman against forgetting. Revenge? It plugged the hole, but didn't heal. In America, where dreams die on ventilators and rise on venturebucks. Maybe that's the real twist. No heroes. Just humans fumbling in the dark.
And me,
Alina Reyes.
pouring lattes.
Plotting nothing but tomorrow. Or so I tell myself. But late nights, when the city's hum quiets, I wonder if the swap tech revives.
Would I dive back in?
Take mom's skin. Make her feel the blame? Controversial? Damn right.
Wham.
To the marrow. Tense? Every breath. That's the American way. Pull the plug. Charge ahead. Blame the ghost. Epilogue whispers, Lila visits. Not in dreams but coffee steam. Shaping like a smile. Live. Sis. I do. For her.
For us.
The end? Or just